Hey Hylians! So to follow the weekly trend of new Age of Calamity content, we have gotten another trailer. The last couple of trailers have focused on new characters or new renditions of old characters like Robbie and Pura, along with the Yiga and the new mysterious villain, but today is a more generic trailer, not really focusing on any singular thing, although we do get to see an old friend from Breath of the Wild for the first time in Age of Calamity. While this trailer is lacking a little of the excitement from past trailers, I still wanted to give it a quick look over and see if I could find anything new and interesting. So this video might be a little bit shorter than past breakdown videos. The trailer starts with yet another look at the beautiful Hyrule field. As we look towards the castle, we can see Death Mountain in the background, along with the sacred grounds a little bit in front of the castle. The shot is very quick, but I think it could be part of one of the level intros, where we see a pan across the level before the level itself actually starts. After that, we then get a shot of Link running towards a group of bokoblins making their way to Impa. We know a little bit more about this clip as it was part of the gameplay shown at the Tokyo Game Show. This clip is part of a larger cutscene where we are first introduced to Impa, as she was being chased by these bokoblins. That cutscene is also when we first see the towers rise for the first time. Moving on, we then get a look at a handful of costumes for Link. All of these costumes we see are from Breath of the Wild. We see him wearing the soldier's armour, Hylian tunic, hood and trousers, along with the Sheikah set. Unlike in Hyrule Warriors where the costumes fully changed the character's appearance, these clothes are much more like how they are used in Breath of the Wild, where we can mix and match what we wear. We see this in the gameplay from a couple of weeks ago in the Nintendo Treehouse. I do hope though that we will have more of the funny, silly costumes and costumes that call back more to past games like in Hyrule Warriors. After our look at Link's clothing, we then easily move into our introduction to the Koroks. Again, we saw them quickly in the Treehouse gameplay from a couple of weeks ago, but now we get to see them a little more. It's safe to say that they'll be used in a very similar way to the Gold Skulltulas from Hyrule Warriors, where finding and collecting them would lead to us finding puzzle pieces which would then lead to upgrades to the bazaar. And along with the Koroks, we get our first look at the big lovable Korok himself, Hestu, who we can see is also voiced. Again, confirming all characters will be voiced. I know I've said this before, but I just like to point it out because it's very cool to see all of these characters, both new and old, getting their own voices. And Hestu pretty much sounds exactly how I imagined him to. We know from Breath of the Wild that Link is really the only person outside of maybe some children who can see Hestu. But within this shot, we can see that he may also be able to be seen by other characters in this game. We see Zelda, a Bosa and some Hylian soldiers close by, all looking in his direction, which is a little interesting. Maybe the others around Zelda can't actually see him, but are looking in the direction that she's talking. This part also takes place within the Lost Woods, which makes sense as Hestu is a Korok and the Korok forest is within the Lost Woods. But I wonder why Zelda and the others are there. Maybe they were looking for Hestu, or perhaps they were on their way to see the Deku Tree, but found Hestu on the way. I also want to point out that maybe this scene and the moment we saw of our new villain from the last trailer could be connected. Maybe this new villain knows that Zelda doesn't have too much protection around her and they think it will be a good time to try and attack. After all, with all of that fog around, it might make it a little bit hard for the Hylians to fight in. The next couple of shots show some more of Mipha and Revali as they use two of the runes, Cryonis and Stasis. Not too much to say on this part. We can see that Mipha seems to be fighting within Zora's domain, or at least around it, and Revali seems to be fighting possibly within the Hebra mountain area. But yeah, not too much to say on this part. We have seen the runes before and we do know now that they will be used by all characters, so it's not too much of anything new. After that though, we do get to see a little bit more from Zelda. We have seen this move before in past gameplay from the Nintendo Treehouse, but still, we haven't seen a crazy amount from Zelda, and this move is really cool looking. With the help of the Sheikah Slate, she summons a type of bomb carriage. It looks a little bit like the Eggy Guardian. It starts to walk forward, shooting out bombs as it does, both trampling and exploding the Lizalfos in front of it. Now, the location this is happening in is a little bit hard to place. At first I thought it could be near the Great Plateau because of the walls, but at the same time they look pretty short to be the walls of the Great Plateau. I did also think it could be the Akala region, but we see the trees are different from the ones found in that location. I think maybe this is outside of Castletown, the walls being the walls around the Castletown and the building in the background being the castle itself. But still, it is a little hard to say for certain. And after Zelda, we get to see a little bit more from Impa. She's using magnesis as we hear her call it out.
Magnesis! Here it goes!
This is the first time that we've really been able to hear Impa. I think in some of the gameplay shown at the Nintendo Treehouse we could hear her talking, but at the same time we had commentators talking over it, so it was a little bit hard to hear. I can't say too much on her voice, it's a very short clip so I can't really get a feel for how it's going to sound in the game where we actually get to hear more of it, but I am looking forward to hearing more from her in the game. I love the way that she uses magnesis though. We can see that it brings a bunch of weapons and shields from around her and they fuse into this kind of big sword that she uses to knock back all of the Yiga in front of her. I really love how it seems each of the characters have different ways of using all of the runes. It makes them feel more personalised. The location again is a little hard to pinpoint. It really reminded me of places like Lon Lon Ranch, Kakariko Village from Ocarina of Time, and the Hidden Village from Twilight Princess, mostly because of the building style and that archway that we can see. I get the feeling though that this is very likely a small settlement somewhere around Hyrule Field. The trailer then finishes with the most talked about clip of the entire video. Within this clip we see Link, Impa, Revali and Daruk jumping off the top of a tower and gliding off into the sunset. The tower they're jumping off I believe could be the tower on the Great Plateau, as the location is very central and we can see quite a lot including the castle ahead of them. And I just need to talk about Daruk here. I know this is a Zelda game, and we get some really crazy things happen. I know this is a Warriors game, where we can fight with all these crazy weapons. And I know within Hyrule, magic exists. But Nintendo, please. I need an explanation of how a Goron, a creature pretty much described to be a living rock, did not just plummet to the ground after jumping off an extremely tall tower, and instead gracefully soared off into the sunset. Yes, this is obviously the true question that needs answering within Age of Calamity. And with that is my little breakdown of the third mini trailer for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Again, a little lacking in my eyes compared to the past ones we got, but still some nice stuff to see. I've mentioned before how I feel these trailers could be weekly, so it's very likely that we may be getting another look at this game pretty soon. But for now, thank you all for watching. Tell me your thoughts on the video and on the trailer itself, and maybe leave some ideas for how you think a Goron is apparently light enough to use a paraglider. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you want more weekly Zelda content, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!